Welcome back to Andertons TV.
Hello.
These are halcyon days, Mr. Pete.
Yeah, halcyon days.
Halcyon, according to the Oxford Dictionary, denotes a period of time in the past that was idyllically happy and peaceful. And I don't think we've ever been more idyllically happy or peaceful than when using the famous green, the famous blue, or the famous gold guitar pedal into a good valve amplifier with a nice guitar.
Especially when it's graffiti yellow.
Let's hear it first, Mr. Pete, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, that from this is the clean. Right, so then you get... It does exactly what it should do.
Exactly.
I mean, explain to me, why is it green? Why is it blue? Because this is the new one. And why is it gold?
Look,
why? I don't know.
There have been a million overdrive pedals over the years, starting with fuzz pedals back in the 60s and moving through to all your different kinds of overdrive and distortion pedals through the 80s and 90s and stuff. The three most copied, most loved, and therefore most copied pedal circuits of all time will be Ibanez's Tube Screamer.
Yeah.
Some say that was even a copy of a
SD1.
SD1 in the first place, wasn't it? But I don't know. The Tube Screamer has its place in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The Klon has its... That's probably the most hyped pedal of all time.
And now you say Klon. Actually, you can win one of these when we hit 1 million, and if you have to subscribe though, so do that, please.
So the Klon super copied, and the Klon I think is copied out of necessity, right? Because if you want a real one, you just can't get them.
10 grand.
And I guess the other one of the three, the trifecta, would have been the Blues Breaker, which was a pedal that Marshall released back in the 90s.
And re-released recently, when you can watch the video up there, and that is one of the, that's not the original, that's my re-release of this.
And there have been other pedals that have reached levels of infamy, the Rat is another one. Exactly. But I think those three are the Halcyon pedals, right? And Origin Effects, who, crikey, you're bound to have... I keep sort of saying, they're the guys famous for doing Cali 76. But yeah, I think they're established now, aren't they? Most guitar players will look at Halcyon as one of those aspirational brands, just like always knocking it out the park with like a hyper high quality
everything about these are super high quality, the build quality, everything is top mounted jacks, all of it. And you know what? I called it. Because when that came out and then that came out, I was like,
obviously,
the next one, what's the next one then? A Rat? What would we reckon? Could be a Rat.
Could be a Rat.
Because a Rat is...
He hasn't done a fuzz yet, has he?
No.
But look, who knows? So you'll see all three pedals have got essentially the same knobs on them, level, drive, the sort of blend control and tone. And then they each have this very cool set of switches in the middle to do an adapt mode and a voicing mode. And essentially, I think a similar thing is happening on all three in the adapt mode. So on the Blues Breaker here, when it's to the left in 0 mode, it has no adaptive behavior. So they're really sort of saying it ought to respond as you roll the volume down and stuff on your guitar, like the original. Position 2, which is the middle one, has its full adaptive behavior, which means as you turn the volume down on your guitar, it will reduce the mid-range emphasis as well as clean up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then position 1 is like a sort of a lesser version of that.
Yes.
And then the two voices again are going from an original Blues Breaker voice to a modded
so their kind of
voice.
version of what they would...
Yeah. And they've sort of inferred off the record that it kind of goes a bit King of Tony in that
That's
sort
a classic
of...
pedal as well,
Another
man.
classic pedal. But we've got all three here, so we're going to focus in on how the Blues Breaker sounds. We've done videos of these two, which you'll be able to find in the description of this video below. But of course, what all of our favourite guitar players do, especially people like John Mayer,
this is John Mayer
is
right
they stack them, right? So they've got all three of, they'll have a Klon and they'll have a Blues Breaker, they have a Tube Screamer, and John Mayer in particular, when you see his board, they're not always necessarily in the same order.
Around, yeah.
But so we're going to have a play around with that at the end. Anyway, let's hear, what's your clean sound? What have you gone with?
It sounds great, man. It's the Deputy, and I've said it so. It's on the cleanest voice mode, but the gain is slightly up. So you get, if I go on the back pickup, it's a little bit of gain, Oh, and by the way, go and watch Deadpool and Wolverine if you're over 15 years old. That film was epic yesterday when we went to watch that. I'm going to watch it again.
Cool.
5,000 times.
Brilliant. Well, I might come with you next time then.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to leave, for the first part of this demo, we're going to leave the dry control all the way counterclockwise.
Yeah.
So that essentially we're not hearing any of the blended amp signal. And we're just going to start off where we were. So this is a pretty typical pedal setting, isn't it? Level and drive just above halfway, tone halfway, and then we've got the adaptive mode at 0 and on its blues breaker mode.
I tell you, before we play, I noticed that if you set it like this, it reacts like the old one because
it gets quieter.
It gets quieter, which has always been like, so you have to do that.
Yeah, unity gain on this one is
almost there.
Literally at like 9 o'clock on the, sorry, not 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock on the volume.
And I noticed that when you hear that when we get to the mod setting, actually that raises the volume. Anyway, so that was clean here. Enter. There's this touch-sensitive reaction that I really love in a pedal.
It's the least drivey of the three, I think, isn't it, the blues breaker? Until you've gunned it, maybe. Even gunned, I would say it's the least drivey of the three.
And is that when I go to the back pickup? Especially on a Telecaster, boom, there it is. That excites me more than anything else in the entire universe. Even Deadpool was probably up there with this sound.
Let's just see. We'll just do the scope of the drive. So if I back the drive down, compensate by turning the level up, do we get a sound that we like? More like a fattener, isn't it?
It's still there on the back pickup,
isn't it?
I think this is a no-caster and a twisted celly. I think it's the same as. Oh, this guitar,
and then we'll just see. So we were already at kind of halfway before. So let's go like 3/4 on the drive.
Back pickup.
And all the way in with a tiny bit more level as well.
Might even be a little bit too much gain on the back pickup. That sounds good, man.
We'll stay with the telly, I think, to do the demo, and then we'll use the Les Paul at the end. So let's, first and foremost, we'll kind of dial in our sort of really typical... Actually, I haven't shown you what the tone control does. Let's just quickly do tone.
If I go on the back pickup, it's... You know what that does?
I like their tone controls because it's not, it doesn't sort of go or like super ice picky at the top. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't have said it's not exactly a notched kind of EQ, but it's or maybe more like a presence control.
Yeah.
It's very
It's
usable.
I mean, it sounds great in that amp as well, doesn't it?
Doesn't
I mean,
it?
I'm not gonna, but that amp is good. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to just leave the tone at 12 o'clock. You can see where the level and the drive are both at like 1 or 2 o'clock. Dry all the way off, and then let's just see what the different modes sound like. So let's try Adaptive 2.
It adds in some low end, which means that when I turn... and I go there. That's what you can really hear it
difference.
when you turn. So what I've gone down here, like... the quarter way down. Maybe a little bit more. Just adds in the low end and the top end into...
Pretty subtle, isn't it? I mean, I'm
it's-
guessing, and mode 1 of the adaptive mode is the subtle mode, and it was subtle already.
Let's split the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess if I go on a back pickup and I turn it all the way up, I don't think you'll hear that much when you switch.
Okay.
Try that. Still a little
Tiny bit in that lower mid-range, maybe.
But it is when it really works when you. It adds that low end in, right?
It's weird, like, for an effect that is as subtle as that, why you would need 2 variants of it is, I'm not sure, but
because
there
you got maybe you got single coils and
maybe
humbuckers
different
or
on
whatever, you
humbucker,
know.
we'll try
and
that.
maybe you touch your guitar a little bit different. Maybe.
It's super marginal, but I think I prefer the sound with the adapt mode on.
Yeah, I think especially when because you don't hear it when you're on full whack. But it really shines when you turn the guitar down. Oh, yeah,
Should we hear
great.
what their modded voice sounds like?
Yeah, I'll tell you the volume will go up. So. It's got more volume and a bit more gain, right? Also with the adapt on, you get even more low end.
I would say that I prefer the adapt mode on, and actually I just think the difference between the BB mode and the modded mode is subjective in that, you just go, for some instances, if I just want the more gain, I'd use the modded mode. If I want less gain, I'd just use the BB
I think if you
mode.
stack it, you probably use just the BB certain mode.
Yeah.
But I mean, that sounds flipping
Doesn't it?
great.
Let's talk about blending in this dry sound, because that's something I know it sounds mad. I mean, demoing and selling pedals for a million years, and I've never liked a blended sound of a clean guitar amplifier and an overdrive pedal. I've always felt like I don't know why I've got the clean thing, or I'd have it blended super low. But of course, one of the things we were doing with this amplifier right before we started filming was actually, if you've got overdrive on the amp as well, the blend thing works really well. And I sort of little light bulb moment, we're going, maybe it's not about blending in a clean sound, maybe it's about blending in the overdriven sound of your amp already.
I mean, same on the compressor pedals they do, you know, it's got the blend dry switch in, and it's really handy, because sometimes you don't want a lot of that, especially with compressor. But
yeah.
Well, let's try a clean.
Yeah,
so go super clean.
Okay, go even clean on the amp, right. And then, yeah, we'll blend in and we'll see what it sounds like.
So let's go clean. I mean, that's pretty clean.
It's pretty clean, yeah. And so that's, again, this is no clean signal.
It's just low end. Take the adapt off.
It's interesting, it's blending. I wonder if this amplifier almost naturally a blues breakery set of overdrive.
Yeah. You got that. It's really subtle, isn't it?
Very.
You can definitely
Do we just
hear
need to sort of gain it up a bit?
You can
here,
definitely,
like,
there's definitely something. Yeah, there you go.
It's much more obvious when you put a lot of gain from the pedal in.
Yeah.
So obviously, the more of the amp, the cleaner it gets.
Now you can really hear it.
So that's a good example of a sound that I don't really like.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds. It almost sounds like you've got two sounds competing with each other rather than blending nicely. It sounded better before.
I think they have done it really well, because some pedals, it's too much clean you introduce.
Yeah.
So it goes from almost like super drive and then to super clean. It's almost like all the drive away, but this doesn't necessarily move all the drive.
Get natural drive out of your amplifier, because this sounded great earlier on, like really.
So I think we were here.
More drive.
Okay, so let's go voice 2.
Yeah, like that.
I'll turn it down a bit. This is a bit loud.
And then essentially, then I thought. So, and then I think you can have the blend a bit higher up here, and you get a really nice mix.
Oh my God!
Sounds great,
man.
man.
It sounds so good, doesn't it?
It's super subtle. It's really subtle, but there's just a marginal improvement in the tone when you do blend a bit more of the amp in, when it's a bit gainier.
I think that works a little bit more with the Tube Screamer, because it's got that. It's got that honk. Now you get low end.
Low end, yeah.
From the amp, right?
From the amp.
The nasally from the Tube Screamer.
Yeah.
I mean, these pedals are flipping awesome, man. Right?
They are. It's a
They're
funny thing. My very first experience with Origin was on. I can't remember, what's it called? The ones
the big guy.
Yeah, the big guy that was like a Marshall amp type thing or something.
I forget what it was. Switches, dip switches, and extra bits and pieces.
And I think
it was a lot, wasn't it?
It gave me a sort of a slightly negative perception of, not of the quality of the pedal, but of just like, I'm a simple man, I like simple things.
That was
so
to
I
the
sort
max,
of,
that one.
Yeah, I think I sort of avoided Origin a bit, just it didn't, but...
And then they did the compact, so the Revival drive, which is absolutely stonking as well.
Yeah.
You know, they've done the Magna 57, the Revival Trem, they've done the DC Boost, they've done the, which I've got on my board, the MEQ, which is like an EQ where you can hit much more top, mid, but you can choose, it's almost like an EQ, but with drive in it, which I think is awesome.
No, the simpler ones are so up my street. I think they sound fantastic.
But these are on my boards, I'm afraid. There we are.
So look, I think we've given you some idea. I mean, there's a part of me going, should we just literally straight?
I think we should just straight pipe it.
So we're gonna basically, I think, leave the adapt on because we all agree we like that. Put it back in its blues breaker mode, so it's a direct comparison. Dry all the way off because this doesn't have a blend control, and then just see.
You don't want to put it in no adapt mode, just so it should be like this, right?
I guess I just like the adapt mode, but yeah, no, you're right. Okay, fair enough.
Let's just see how close it actually is.
So if we do drive and level at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and tone flat on both pedals, we can kind of see how they sound.
Yeah. So here's the clean.
That
sounds
look
good.
That way,
amp,
and you tell me which one's which.
I'll tell you, the amp just sound amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The best sound there, I think, was actually just the amp on its own. Let's just...
What is this now?
That is no pedals. That is just the amp.
Really? I was going to get that. It's the best sound.
I think that's one of those sort of things with the blues breaker that everybody talks about is they do need to be turned up a bit before they have any real impact. So let's gain it up a bit more.
Oh my God, whatever that is sounds great.
That's another pedal.
Change again. Change. I don't know.
No, they are quite similar, aren't they? I think one is slightly marginally brighter.
And that's got a little bit low end in it, right?
Maybe. Let's just...
That's brighter, isn't it?
That's funny, isn't it? I mean, it's like the crazy thing with these blues breaker pedals is so when they first came out, they were like 50 quid each or something. I mean, I'm talking about when 50 quid was, probably could have...
50 quid? What?
You could have taken, a family of 10 people on a camping holiday for that.
In Italy.
Yeah, but... and then before these were reissued, they were going on eBay for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. It was crazy. Not quite Klon money, but, like silly.
Yeah.
And then these came out and they were under...
120, 50 quid.
Something's crazy, 150 or 170 or whatever. And it did throw the cat amongst the pigeons because there was a lot of boutique blues breaker clones out there going like, oh dear, the originals ones. And I think to a certain degree, the similar thing, because I mean, the Halcyon pedals are all 250. So you've got to accept that the Halcyon is going to be 100 quid dearer than buying the blues breaker. So you've got to really find something about it that you like more, but it's definitely got more stuff on it.
I mean, also, as much as I like that, it's a big,
it's a bit oversized,
it's big,
isn't it?
This fits on, you can put two next to each other. And,
I tell you what, it's super nice, man.
Yeah,
the switches are so... I mean, again, just listen acoustically to this. This is a cheap switch, right? Oh, bit of background noise, intro.
Oh, there you go, listen to it. Listen.
That's full drive as well.
And that's me.
So I think it's safe to say that componently the Origin is just a nicer built pedal, isn't it? Anyway, look, I'm sort of...
I mean, that sounds
I've
great,
gunned them
man.
both. I think and I've put the adapt mode on one.
Yeah.
Let's put... We liked a bit of the blend, didn't we? So let's just see if there is a...
Wow. I mean, whatever you get, they both sound great.
They do.
There's something with this.
I think
it's a little bit of extra there.
Yeah.
And the fact that you click...
Yeah, that signal noise, that background noise ratio is impressive on the Halcyon.
I mean, this is full whack.
Yeah. I mean, listen to that. Even the switch is slightly microphonic, isn't it? Through the, you can hear the...
It's authentic. I was going to say autistic, but that's not the word, is it? It's authentic.
All right. Well, look. I mean, hopefully you guys are going, that might put to bed a little bit of your questions about, do I just stick with my normal blues breaker or whatever.
I mean, that sounds absolutely
They both sound great. There's a reason why tube screamers and blues breakers and clons became so mythically loved. Right, let's go over to a Les Paul.
Yeah.
And
I'm just doing that
just
because then
mess
I can do
around
that.
with some tone stacking.
Also, this guitar, man.
So I think I'm going to use the Halcyon Blue, which is my only thing. If you live in the UK, isn't Halcyon Blue a cleaning product?
It sounds like it.
Unbelievably close,
It's like, have you put Halcyon Blue in the toilet, darling?
Yes, absolutely. Does your toilet smell and have urine stains around? You need Halcyon Blue.
It is that, but you put it on the side, like one of those little.
So I'm going to go with some of my favourite, using this more as just a fattener, and then.
I put new strings on this tape, by the way, so it might be out of tune a little bit.
And then we're going to use the Halcyon Gold.
Do you think they could be like, they could do the Nashville?
Oh, what, the
Nobles.
ODR? I don't really know. I think once you get past these three, the next most popular pedal is a lot
probably a rat,
less,
isn't it?
But, well, just a lot less popular. That's straight into feedback because it hits that mid-range thing.
And that's what the
That's what all the good clones.
You just want to go all the time.
It's very hungry.
It's very hungry, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know if we. I mean, again, that's on my board. I have a Dane for my sort of main gain sound, and I want Platumnus to hit into it.
A Dane it's got a similar type vibe.
It's the same idea, like a low to medium drive pedal in the middle, and then the clon just really punching it in the balls.
Right in the fart box.
Yeah, I don't know what else. What was the? I don't know, maybe slightly less here, and it's very mid-rangey though.
Might take a little bit less gain on here.
Now, again, we've set this up because most pictures that we've seen of John Mayer's pedalboard, not all, but most seem to go clon, blues breaker, tube screamer, but not all.
You watch the comment section light on fire.
Yeah, I know. So let's see. Now maybe we get our sort of standard drive tone out the tube screamer. And then use this to boost it. So.
Let's try that. That sounds
great
bloody
tone.
good as well.
That into that just sounds like you're getting the same basic tone, but just more.
Yeah.
Whereas that into that was really changing the characteristic.
It's a boost, using it as a boost thing into it. Yeah. My God, put that in the front.
Tube screamer in front of the blues breaker.
Yeah, let's move that.
Yeah, I think I would be inclined to do that. I mean, I don't want to.
Do you like to do that?
Say you're wrong, John, the way you set all your pedals up. But
John,
I think I would go blues breaker last.
Oops, sorry.
What did you say?
I said, John, you fucking loser. How are they Taylor, do you think? It's perfect? Okay, right, so let's try this then.
So we're going to get our
well,
basic...
Man.
This is...
Now there's more gain in there. Much more gain.
It's funny, isn't it? It doesn't seem to be taking much bass end away, the green overdrive, but maybe it's...
It does.
Yeah, it is.
All of a sudden,
there's a lot. You know what though? That is not a lot of background noise considering how like 3 overdrive pedals into one.
It's not. It's
yeah,
not.
it's. Are you going Klon last? Controversial. What's your name? Dan Steinhardt.
They're gonna come and kill me in a minute. They're just gonna rappel into the ceiling like that, making Dan come in going, "What are you doing?
Is this a flag
wrong."
colour? What country's flags can we make out of blue, yellow, and green?
So there we are. So now you
that works.
Yes, but now you're not boosting into the drive. You're using this as a boost up. That's why people go, I want the boost after or before. I like it before because it changes the sound to be bigger, but not necessarily louder. But Nicky, and this is now. That's how you want it. Green, blue, yellow. That's how I would have it, right? Listen to that shit, man.
That's 750 quid for 3 drive pedals, but then that's it, you're done, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's it.
No, you're not done. You're not done at all. But you know what? I'd rather spend, this is controversial for you guys out there, I'd rather spend 750 quid on this than any little whatever. No,
of course. I know. Well, I'm probably with you. But hey ho.
Pedals.
Anyway, on that bombshell, we will leave you to enjoy the rest of your days.
Yeah.
There we are. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a halcyon day. Bye bye.